It's Montana White. We live at the world famous Patchwork. And I'm going to let my friend introduce himself. What we got going on?
Hey, I'm KAL 007. I'm here with the one and only Montana White. Had to come personally deliver his Volume 2 BMF Blueprint to Conspiracy. You know, we telling from the inside since 1985, day one. Y'all check in. Make sure you check out that interview. I just did a little drop. Gave him some insights and tidbits. Y'all see, you know what I mean?
Now, tell them how to find you, boss.
Hey, you can find me at KAL007W on IG. You can find the book at therealbmf.com.
That's right. Montana White. We live Patchwork. Come on. Montana White, the Montana White Show. We sitting right here with KAL007, author of the Black Mafia Family, the Blueprint to Conspiracy, the mega book. What you say, 5 pounds?
9.4 pounds, 467 pages, volume 1.
Put that on the scale. You know what I'm talking about? Put that on the scale. You feel me? Now, you know what I'm interested in, right? Because everybody know the story. Everybody know the gangster shit, the bottles popping, right? But the business of the entertainment side, right? You mentioned that you was a part of the Source. How that happen?
I was working on the West Coast division of the Source with the West Coast guys, Hawk and KT, some of the original made men,
Right.
Benzino's crew, and
Shout out Boston.
Yeah, shout out the whole team. I've always been like a conciliary, like a liaison.
Okay.
So I'm the guy that can kind of help bridge, you know, one aspect of the street to the other aspect of the street. So I'm normally quiet. I don't really do interviews, so this is kind of new for me. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
Montana's the OG, so that's how I got hooked up. I got hooked up with the Source years and years ago through the Made Men guys, and from there I stuck in with those guys. And at the time, that's when I got reintroduced to BMF. And at that time, they were starting an entertainment side. I didn't really know, honestly, to be honest, I didn't know anything about drugs or nothing when I met these guys. They didn't introduce me as Black Mafia Family. They didn't talk about nothing. I never saw nothing. Right. They were very conservative on how they moved. I knew nothing. I didn't find that out till later. But regarding the entertainment side, they started making massive moves because they had the streets on lock. So they had a 2-part deal where they were promoting the entertainment side, and at the same time they were sewing up other relationships across the country because they were mastered. If you ever met Meech and dealt with him and a lot of guys in the crew, they had a lot of finesse. Niggas was real smooth, you know what I'm saying? They were real cool. And one thing that's consistent with everybody is they took really good care of everybody.
So when you met him in Miami, you saw him at the hotels, you saw everybody balling, right? What was the product? Because you can't go to the Source and be like, oh man, I know these street niggas just balling. What was the product you took to the Source that got them in the Source? Because the Source was such a big magazine. Right now, they don't really know how big it was. It was called the Bible.
We were Google back then.
You feel what I'm
talking about? We was Google.
Straight, that's a
Period.
fact.
We was Google.
So you had enough power, right? What did you see in these guys? They got the bag, but sometimes I get records from rich niggas that be trash and we can't do nothing with it, you know? And I can't take it in because they like, nigga, they gonna know we paid for this, right?
Correct.
So what was the product that you put in front of the Source that got them that spread?
They had at that time been working on Blues album. They had a couple singles, videos they had just dropped out here. Benny Boone came down, my man Kareem Johnson, they blew the city up shooting videos.
Right.
They had 2 singles out. Then they had, they had another label called Stomping Ground. They had a girl named Azure Ray, and she had premier production from all the top producers, Dre Vidal, like Pooh Bear, like. So what I saw, because I had to also, like you said, I had to temper it before I go back to these guys, I saw that they had a real passion for what they were doing with the industry, and what I saw that made me feel confident about taking them was they were consistent. They had continuity with what they were doing. They weren't just promote 1 month and then dropping the ball. They were very consistent.
Talk about the plug.
Yeah, they were very consistent. The way they treated me, the way I saw them treat other people, they were very organized. So it made me feel confident because Dog asked me, and when I went to Miami that time and I kind of really found out what was going on, he asked me, yo, what's up with these niggas? And I said, no, they good. Because he, at that time, Zeno actually came through the party they had. I think it was called, there was a club on Ocean next to Wet Willie's Teasers or some shit like that. They had the
On
whole
South Beach.
yeah, they had the
On
whole
South Beach.
club, and so Dog came through, poly with them. He felt good about it, and shortly after that, that's where you saw them at the Source Awards. And Jaden and the whole family shouted him out on national TV. Was like, "Yo, BMF is in the building." I'll never forget sitting. And I was like, "Whoa,
That's crazy.
This is another level." Because we all know Cruz, but this was something very different to get national recognition on that level. It had never really been done before like that. You know what I'm saying?
And
Ever.
shout out Benzino too, because the one thing, right? The internet crazy, because history would show Benzino was a very, very strong force in this hip hop game.
Super.
A strong force
Super.
in this hip hop. And shout out Dave Mays too.
Super.
That's my dog. You know what I mean?
The
Now,
industry wouldn't be what it was today. Y'all can, a lot of people clown Dog, and they, because they're not at the position they were in. But you guys got to remember, they had a beef.
Shit.
They had a beef with the most powerful guy in the music industry, a guy named Jimmy Iovine. So when they got into that beef through attacking Eminem, it all went bad for them.
Yeah.
So that's here, there. You know what I'm saying? At this point, Dog is a legend. Dave is a legend, and what you guys got to understand, if it weren't for those two guys and what they did, like them, love them or not, the whole industry wouldn't be what it was.
Wouldn't be like this today.
No, it wouldn't be like
they made
this.
kings out this motherfucker. You
They
know
made
what I'm talking
kings
about?
out this
Now
motherfucker.
check this out, right? So you're a part of the Source. You introduced the mob to the Source. They put a 4-page spread. Who was in the spread? What was the spread about?
Spread was the whole crew. It was Meech, Blue, I think J-Bo was in there, just the main guys, and they basically, the article was talking about their company and what's coming, and just kind of letting people know, they're about to come down. And at that time, a lot of people may not understand what me and Montana saying. You couldn't get a half a page in the Source,
Right.
never mind a 4-page spread. That was just something that was unheard of. And honestly, Dog and Dave were to a point where they had big bread, so they really didn't just take anybody's money, to be real with you.
And
You
Master
had to
P
be
was
real.
eating.
You had to be special for them to really fuck with you, because they dictated the rules for the whole industry, including Jay, Dre, whoever you name it. If it didn't go through them for the Source, it wasn't happening. So that's kind of how I bridged that together with them. And then afterwards, I stayed consistent with doing other things with them to kind of help them further themselves in the industry and doing things behind the scenes.
Right.
They had their own plugs, don't get me wrong, but that particular plug was a different plug. That was a real industry plug.
Right. Now JEEZY, right? Now you mentioned in the 4-page spread. Now JEEZY, he's been associated with BMF, right? But he was never signed to BMF.
No. One thing I could tell you, and I remember this from day one real clear. I first interviewed JEEZY and them down on South Beach. One thing at the time, I was doing a documentary on the life story of Donald Goins. I don't know if you guys know what it is. That a real popular doc back out when DVDs was popping. I was doing that at the time. JEEZY had on a CTE chain from the jump. He never had on a BMF chain. Ever.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Now, Snowman is real.
Snowman is
like
real.
that. Snowman is real.
And
And he ain't capping about none of that shit.
One of the greatest ever to ever touch a
absolutely.
motherfucking microphone.
Absolutely.
We still got the JEEZY ride out in the club right now. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
okay, let's remove JEEZY from this, right? Because this ain't about that situation.
Yeah.
This is about BMF Entertainment, right? So boom, everything go down. You introduce, they get the Source spread, right? What happened next?
They started getting real popular.
Hold on, we'll be right back.